that passionate about great light in my pictures. That just means I'm a snob about having great light in my. Are you guys? I'm a snob about my pictures, and I sound like a snob when I look at your pictures, because I just want it to look great, and I want it to have punch. And ooh, Natalie helped me make that picture. Hang on, how do we get out of this? There we go. Check this out. This was a good one. We made this on Friday? Was that on Friday? Yeah. Sorry about the quiver. It's just a little anxious. Oh, come on. There we go. Should we go big? We've got sunlight coming down above. We've got a strobe. This one. We've got a softbox right here. About that far away. As close as it can be without being in the frame. Unless I've got two people, then I back it off a little bit because of the inverse square law. We talked about this yesterday in the 101 class. It gets more even the farther away it gets, although it gets darker too. And Natalie climbed up there. Do you see that black pole? That's the C-stand right there. And there's a flash shining through the tree, casting the cookie shadow on the cuculloris, casting the shadows on the beige wall, because it's just a big beige wall otherwise. It was very, very boring. I don't think it looks bad. It's believable. It could be a reflection off of something. So this is it. I think your environmental pictures should look great. And labs as well can look, because look, labs, why is this every lab on the planet? Wouldn't your microscope look great on an island in the middle of the room? Right? We're always stuck against walls doing things in labs and stuff. And so that's the trouble, and there's lots of ways we can get around it. I want to show you pictures and talk about them a little bit, and then if you're ready, we can demonstrate. We didn't do any demonstrating in the last class, so we're getting together at 3:30 and making things happen. If you want to join us for that, you are welcome to. So we'll just continue this class after class. Here's a good one. Evidently, the researcher, this is in the basement, and he knocked out the wall to get the CT scanner into the building, and then told facilities he knocked out the wall. And so it's this big box, right? And this is a snake wrapped up, it's like a coral snake, wrapped up in cellophane around that foam so it doesn't wiggle. It's dead. And yeah, it's real tight. And it's got, she injected like X-ray opaque material into the veins and forced it through the whole snake. So the CT scanner is going to create a 3D model of all the veins in the snake, especially in its head. It's a really cool, I think it'd be a sweet print. But you can see the tan lines here, right there. That's where my light that's over here sticking up behind the machine, shining into the ceiling, just kind of lighting the whole room. That's where it kind of cuts off. So this is like the natural light of the room, and this is above my flash lighting things up. And then there's a flash inside the box, inside the CT scanner, shining back out toward her as well. And here's my setup inside the box. Soft light. I like soft light. Soft light means that you can't see exactly where the shadows start and stop. So you see the shadow of my hand and like the shadow of my body. You're like, yeah, there's a shadow, but you can't say there's the shadow and there's not the shadow. It's a gradual transition. That's what soft light is. Hard light is a hard edge to the shadow. You can say exactly where it starts and stops. I like soft light because it's pretty, and it's pretty because we don't see the shadows of our zits across our face with soft light, or our wrinkles or anything, and so it's very nice. This little light is shining into the wall inside the box. Did you guys steal my light when you were up here? Just kidding. Probably stole my... Did you guys steal my light? Oh, there it is. So this little guy is in the box on a platypod. I like platypods. I help design them. I don't get any money from them. I get free platypods. And they are super handy for putting cameras and lights in various places. It's got a 3/8 and then a bunch of 1/4 20s. It's got slots so you can take your belt off and tie it to a tree. I love this thing. So I've got one with the light on it and one with the camera on it. And then I'm controlling the camera with my phone app. The light is bouncing around inside that box, and it took the little tiny flash shining into the wall, and it's reflecting back onto my face in a nice soft manner. This was before I got bifocals, baby. Bifocals are the way to go, photographers. None of this up, down, off the head stuff. Just bite it. Just live with it. Bite the bullet. Oh, and blue. Now there's a blue light out here. Just put a blue gel on that flash that was outside before, which goes well with her glasses and her gloves and our school colors, of course. And so I like it. They like it. They use this picture all the time, talking about their fancy CT scanner. I don't know if they tell the story about breaking the walls.
Somebody does, but not in a good way.
That's right. Look, we're shooting in this place with 2 giant walls of windows. Why do I need to light it? Because I'm a snob. And if I didn't light it, there wouldn't be any light in their faces and no twinkle in her eyes. It's worth doing, and it makes everything better. The thing I'm going for when I do this, when I hang that light up, is it takes 5 minutes to put this up. I've got a C-stand with sandbags on the bottom, rising up, and there's a boom arm, a Matthews Avenger boom arm. I haven't seen an off-brand replacement for that yet. Sandbag hanging off the back of it with the 600 watt second lights hanging down. And then the big umbrella. Also, this is a removable reflector on here. These are called reflectors? Sorry, they're just called reflectors. It's a pain that they have the same name as things that reflect. But that's what comes with it. Is it working? Thanks. We might use it.
Is that the wing-like umbrella?
The which one?
The wing-like.
The wing-like umbrella? Yeah. From whom?
I think
Oh, interesting. It's the parasail from B&H. It's this one. And it's clipped top and bottom. Yeah. This way you can raise it up to the ceiling and your light's still in the middle. Whereas if it was round, your light would be way lower. And so it's nice. It's like $40. Yeah. I could make a living with this. I have, in the past, made a living with this, a 35 millimeter and 85 millimeter, and we're golden. So it takes a minute to set up, but I put on the 35 millimeter, I can make a bunch of pictures right there. I put on the 85 millimeter, I make a bunch of pictures right there. And it's a better light. I'm trying to convince the videographer it's a better light too. No, he's the one who got it up there. I mean, we work very closely together. In fact, Andrew, who just set up my camera, is my supervisor and videographer on our main campus. Braylon here is the statewide. We have 30 campuses. Did I say that? So we've got one 2 miles from here. It's small. Actually, it's the one where we just did the shining through the leaf picture. Any questions on this one? Does it?
What light are you using?
The flash in it? It's the 600 watt second light. Godox. But I wouldn't buy it. Again, I'd get the flashpoint stuff. Your money goes farther, and like Darren was just pointing out, no. Tell me your name again. Eric, thanks. Was just pointing out, Flashpoint is an Adorama brand. It's their house brand. When you call Flashpoint, you get Adorama on the phone. When you call Godox, 你好，你所打的电话号码是打错了， 请拨电话再打一次。
And everything in the Flashpoint R2 family interchanges and syncs with
Right.
the Photog's R2 family.
So I use the same transmitter,
Yeah.
mixing lights together, and that's handy. That was kind of real. I speak Chinese. I wasn't making fun. I'm sorry.
It's a 600 watt size, a good size.
It's their biggest size. Yeah, it's adequate. It's adequate. I'm not freezing Michael Jordan on the football field, that kind of thing. So I don't know who would be.
We use the 8400s, the smaller ones.
Uh-huh.
And they do almost as much power.
Probably
as-
60%.
Yeah, and they're a lot cheaper.
They're a lot cheaper. One thing, so this is the Pro one. There's like another 600 that's not the Pro.
Correct.
It does do TTL. I don't need TTL.
You have two models, TTL and non-TTL. And
The non-TTL is like $100 cheaper.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't use TTL with flash. Contrary to Joe McNally, bless his heart, and my bed sheets with his face on them. If you want to hear a little girl scream, just wait till Joe gets here tonight. I'm so excited. We don't want to use TTL because when I reframe this picture, TTL means through the lens metering. The camera sees this big black wall behind them, and it says, whoa, that's a black wall, let's make it brighter. Whoa, the black wall's gone, let's make it darker. And so your exposure changes every time if you use TTL metering with your flash. It was awesome when I was new with a speed light in the park, and I couldn't figure out why my exposure was different when I had more sky in the picture and when I had less sky in the picture. So just use manual. I shoot manual with my flash. I shoot manual with my camera because it's mirrorless, right? When I change the exposure compensation, that's just changing the shutter speed anyway, so I'm just changing the shutter speed. And I'm getting exact numbers instead of relative numbers. I use Lumix cameras. They invented mirrorless, so that's cool. It would be a lot like using a Nikon, for anybody who wanted to, it's got features that are sweet. It's got great flash features like Nikon, great menus like Nikon. Flashes, did I mention the flashes work? Sony users? You guys should maybe find a different class. It is a pain to use your flash, so you're gonna have to watch some YouTube videos to make your camera work with flashes. I can't figure out why they're the best selling camera in the world. So I'm afraid I can't help a lot with Sony. Canon, Nikon, Fuji, I can help. I would like to help with Sony, I just can't commit to doing it. Let's go to another picture. What else? Oh, so great light doesn't only mean indoor light. Like here we're flying a big scrim, this thing, which is same as this. Do you have one of these? A 5-in-1 reflector? Is it a circle? Good, good. Because when your assistant holds it, they're blocking half of it with their body anyway. So that's why the oval is so great. Also, here's my favorite patented move. It's the Atlas method. He holds the world on his shoulders. Yeah. And now I can see where the light is falling, and the light is coming from above, not reflecting from below. So this is why my assistants all have chiropractor bills.
You're infringing on my patent.
Say that again.
You're infringing on my patent.
What's your patent?
I do the same thing.
Yeah, but do you call it the Atlas method?
Yeah, no.
He knows me out.
So this is a hard edge scrim. It's got poles that go together in a rigid shape. It's a Scrim Gym brand from, I think it's Westcott.
It is.
Yeah, and then it's got various densities of fabric. 1 1/4 is where you want to be. I thought the 3/4 would be awesome. It's not. It's not soft. It's just darker. So this one diffuses, and then I've got this C stand right here, going up, and it's got 2 flashes on it. You can see the shadow of the flashes on the diffuser. Because this, when you use this, it reduces the amount of light on stuff. So when I hold it over Natalie and, I didn't even get your name, Matt. Now it's darkening over them. I'll do it over Brooks so Matt can film me. When you hold it over them, it's just a shade. When you bring it close, it becomes a light. And so I want this as close as possible without being in an important part of my frame. It's in my frame most of the time, but a Photoshopable part of my frame, a Lightroomable part of my frame. That's kind of my rule. Like here, you can see it's in the corner of the frame. It's in the sky, no problem. We can handle that. So, but it reduces the light, like at least 2 stops, even when it's close up. So I've got the flashes shining in there to bring my subject back up to match the background. I didn't have to use high-speed sync because I put a polarizer on the lens too. Who has a polarizer? Do you use it? You should use it. What does it do? It takes 2 stops off. That's one great thing. That's why I didn't have to use the high-speed sync in the flash. Steve, what else does it do? Polarizer.
Knocks down glare on the skin.
It knocks down glare on skin, which is great.
Saturate your sky.
It saturates your sky because there's little particles in the sky that are reflecting light back at the camera, and it removes that reflection. Even better, it removes the reflection off the tree leaves. This would be white twinkles all over. This is noon. This would just be sparkly white leaves without the polarizer. And so that puts the brightness in the proper places with the polarizer on. I'm sorry? It is a circular polarizer, not a cross polarizer, not a linear polarizer, and it happens to be a circle shape. Is that nerdy? Right? The circular is referring to the type of polarization, not because it's a circle-shaped filter on your lens. So I learned that the ignorant way. And yes, her hair is merging with the towers. It's not, but the light, man, the light is good. That one's a little better. She's shorter. And so there's some setup here. Like if I'm on my own, it's going to take me a solid 10 minutes to get that scrim erected and put on 2 C-stands, plus the flashes. But I've got the 3 bigwigs coming out for photos, so I deemed it worthwhile. Also, we did this with the scrim, using it as a reflector. The lights aren't near the scrim right here, and it's being a reflector on her face with the dark background. So when I any questions?
Do you do 2 separate setups then?
I did here, yes. Yeah, they're like 50 yards apart on the quad. Yeah, one facing the one way. And the reason is, I didn't grab the right picture to share with you on that one. This one, down that grassy way there, or that tree-covered walkway, with the polarizer on, it's rich and dark, and she stands out with just the reflected light, the sun shining onto her shoulders and the reflected light on her face. It's really pretty. And then flipping around 180 degrees with the sun shining on their faces with the scrim is also really pretty and completely different for not much more effort. So I'm always looking for more than one setup. What?
And that was still with 2 strobes.
This was with 2 strobes in order to bring her up. I didn't use high-speed sync. I didn't finish that. Your flash works when your shutter is open. The shutter opens and then the shutter closes. And the flash has to go off when the shutter is open, or else you get a black bar. Have you ever had that? Across the side of your picture, which sometimes if you hold your camera upside down, it can darken the sky without affecting your person who's in the foreground. I did that a couple of weeks ago. It was all right. It was harder to frame. It was a little like using a 4x5 camera, trying to shutter button. So if you're using a faster, this is your sync speed, right? 1/200th of a second, it opens and then closes. 1/160th of a second on some cameras. It opens and then closes. 1/250th on Nikons. But if you're using a faster than that speed, it opens and starts closing before it's never fully open. And so the flash can pulse on high-speed sync to fill in that slot, which takes up a ton of power. And so you have to have your light even closer or more lights together. Where's that doohickey? We got all the doohickey. Ah, there it is. This is how I've got two lights on one stand. It's called the twin shoe bracket because it's got an hole in it for your umbrella. I got that at B&H as well. It's like $12. It's cheap. What do you get when you add a flash? Like twice as much light, right? How much is that? It's one measly stop. But when you're using flashes, it's more than just one stop. So if I'm using quarter power on one light, now I can use eighth power on two lights, right? Faster recharge. My batteries last twice as long. I can get the next picture twice as fast. And it's significantly different on the overheating. It overheats way faster at higher powers than it does at lower powers. So there's benefits beyond one measly stop of having two flashes sometimes. Any questions? Okay. Here we go. Here's another one with that scrim. This is the other one was actually a 4x6. This is 8x8. And we're outdoors at noon. And here's the result. This is straight out of camera. We haven't even processed these yet. I just did a screenshot off the remote computer. It's nice. Like, it's soft and gentle. The key thing is I've reduced the brightness with the scrim, so I need a reduced brightness background as well. I need to shoot into something dark. I try not to have the lit side of the building as the backdrop. I try not to have, the sky, things like that, because I can't compete with it. Does that make sense?
That's no flash, is that?
This is no flash. Yeah, this is just the scrim overhead. Yeah, and I do it plenty with this. Like, when it's one or two people, we can do this all day long. The great thing here is the videographer gets the same benefit. I can switch lenses back and forth. We can go over this person's shoulder off that person and get a lot of different effects. Somebody else asked in the last class what I do to give people, like, I don't say, okay, everybody look at the teacher and laugh while he goes like this. Well, kind of I do. Because every time there's a professor, I tell him to bring things into alignment. This is what I need you to do. This move is really good in professor pictures with little groups. And he just finished bringing things into alignment, as you can see here. And it works really well. The other thing I do is I say, okay, Jenny, will you tell Shauna about the best breakfast burrito you've ever had and what kind of things you put in it? Not so much how much sauce, hot sauce you put on there. Maybe sprinkle some cheese. Give them something to do and they can do it. Say, talk about something. Well, they're going to complain about something, and that's not going to be a good picture. So give people something to do, and it'll work pretty well. This was the same day we did the outside pictures. I've got a light outside that wall shining through the glass, like you see the little highlight up there, shining in this way and kind of lightening the room that way a little bit. And then a softbox is sitting on the table on this with the platypod handles. I promise I don't get a kickback. And they look like lightsabers, but they extend and give you just a little bit more something, and they're super handy. So that's sitting on the conference table in there. And this is the straight out of camera. This is balanced using a color checker. Do you use a color checker?
Yeah.
For what? What's that?
Color.
Yeah, for color. Your camera sucks at color. Did you know that? How many blue colors? How many blue sensors are there? Is anybody shooting with Sigma cameras? Okay, then everybody else's cameras suck at color. The Sigma cameras have a blue sensor and a green sensor and a red sensor stacked on top of each other, and you get all the colors all the time. Everybody else has a green sensor with little pieces of red and blue sensors in it, and we don't get the colors. And especially blue and purple, your camera is bad at making those colors. And the color checker recalibrates your computer for your camera. So you shoot this, and then you run the thing in Lightroom, and it creates a LUT that it then applies, and it corrected everything so that these colors are the way they're supposed to be. Instead of being dull blue and dull purple, you get vivid colors again. Plus, it's got really good white balance options in here to give you a great place to start. So I run it several times under a lot of different settings, and then I kind of find the profile now that is the best for, I don't have any raw pictures here to show. It only works on raw pictures to show you, but right here where it says profile, you would click here and you could browse, and oh, is this raw? It's PNG, but it's still giving me options. Interesting. Anyway, you've got all these color profiles here, including camera matching, so that now you don't have that Adobe garbage that pops up when you open Bridge or Lightroom. You can apply the one from your camera that they've created that looks a lot like what your camera looked like. Anyway, I digress. We get good white balance by putting the gels in the light. This is what I love about the MagMod, is the gels. This thing pops in and out, and it's shaped to fit over the bulb of that flash. So I can change this flash to match that yellow light right there. But in this room, I wouldn't. I would just turn these off or use a fast enough shutter speed that they're not affecting my picture, and put one of these in the corner and a front light on that, and there we would have beautiful environmental light, which is what we will practice sometime today. But this fits over that. I just found out that it fits not only in the MagMod box, but also in the Flashpoint, which is $100 for a 50-inch softbox with a diffuser in the center, which is awesome. Compared to this is like, I think it's $300. I like it, but I don't like it that much. And I mean, at $100, do you use assistants? Do they take as good care of your gear as you do? So it's almost disposable at $100. Let's look at another setting, another style here. Okay, so here's one. We've got a big umbrella shining from the front right over here. As in weddings and family pictures, we generally make the women look good. So I'm putting the great shadow patterns on the gal's face, and the guy is in the picture. So I've got that going this way, and then I've got just basically a bare bulb light shining up into the ceiling on this side, illuminating the rest of the room. And from that spot, I've got this picture. I've got this picture from 90 degrees to the left. See that's that wall. The wall with the flag is blue. And there's that blue strip of that wall. So I just turned myself, and now I'm focused on him. And then, there we go. Moved the light that was in this corner before. I moved it over to that corner, and it's shining up in that flag wall to light the room this way and give us more depth out the window down there. We get lots of options when we do it. And then we also played video games on that couch. We did a ton of pictures right there.
Is that an artifact in the background of that last one? Like, what is this, University?
This one?
Yeah, is that just our projector?
Where's that? Up here?
The white around all the letters.
Oh no, it's a stroke around the letters. Yeah, on the decal. Okay. The decal on the wall has a stroke on it. Yeah, okay. It's not a great decal. So, but they got this one too. So, which was not allowed. Don't you love when the sign committee isn't consulted? Here's another example. We're outside. We've got the sun coming up over there, shining across. I've got a softbox right here, not flashy looking. Like it's motivated. It's believable. Would you have said, "Wow, nice flash picture"? I hope not. Frank.
Why that angle rather than putting your softbox opposite the sun?
Normally, I would put the front light opposite the back light. That's like my go-to principle. I think because it was a little more believable right here, maybe. I can't remember why now. I can't remember why. But the key thing in this one is that flash I put in the stained glass window upstairs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the key, huh? Forget about looking at the president talking to a student. Let's look at that stained glass window that's illuminated. Yeah. Yeah. So that's just the bare bulb flash shining down into it up above. Otherwise, it was just a black hole. Like there was no light coming through it whatsoever. So it just, for what it's worth, it adds a little, maybe too much. What's that, Frank? It's a lot. Otherwise, it was just dark.
How'd you get the light up there?
Oh, there's a stairwell right there, and so I just leaned it out from the stairwell, leaning out over it. It's accessible.
Did you use a softbox with that, or did you just?
No, just bare. Yeah, it would be nice to shine it through something a little more diffuse, but as it is, it's believable. Yeah, gives just a little lift. So, big umbrella, shining on these guys. This is all the same setup spot, the same room. You can see the umbrella in the window, in a very photoshoppable spot. I know that my designers are going to come and put a gradient across half my picture anyway, so. Then we turned 180. Same setup. Without changing anything, I can just put the kids on different sides of the stool. There's another flash, or a flash over here, shining back in with the big umbrella over there. Here we go, the senator in his basement office with no windows. Right? That's how we end up. There's a light back here shining forward, softbox shining on his face.
Is the light in the background on that a bare light, or do you have a soft light?
I think it's bare. It would have been nice if it was softboxy. Sometimes though, right? Like it gets fake looking if it's too soft. Yeah. This feels like there's a window shining across the bookshelf. So, yeah. It looks like not quite perfect. Do you guys have crumble cookies?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're the next block over, like across the street right here is their headquarters. So they have free cookies. And they're he's a graduate of USU, he's a graduate of BYU. And so softbox shining from the front right, bare bulb up into the ceiling in the back, which is illuminating the box wall and giving him this lift of rim light right here. You see that? And right on his cheek here. I mean, this stuff is fast.
What was your ISO?
100. 2/50th of a second. So this was with the other camera. And 2.8 on an 85. What is ISO for? When my shutter speed is wrong. ISO is a function of shutter speed. When I need more shutter speed, I turn up the ISO. When I need less shutter speed, I can turn down the ISO. And I need my sync speed to match, I need my sync speed. So 1/250th is the fastest this camera could shoot without going into high-speed sync. So that's why I dropped it down to 100. And I'm probably, I'm at 2.8 on my aperture, so I'm probably at just about minimum output on the flash as well. That's the trouble with a big flash, is that it doesn't get as dark as the little flashes. This one's minimum is still 4 times brighter than the little one's minimum. So that's a problem. That trade-offs in photography. But yeah, you can see the corner of the umbrella right there. Or softbox. Probably umbrella after all. But it's quick. Like these guys don't give me time. And in fact, it's over the Christmas holiday and they came in. And so
Was that your idea, or did you post that?
I said, yeah, let's do that. Can we get some more boxes up here? And then I don't remember how they got to putting the boxes on each other's heads. We didn't use it. We should have. But it doesn't have to take a lot of time to do this. Ooh, look, I'm a sports photographer. Rod Marr, eat your heart out. You know how long I had to wait for that scene? I didn't. I said, do that again. Keep guarding her. Keep bringing the ball across like this, because I'm bad at this. Let let me get this again. So we shot it, 15 times to get it right. And I've got a light right over there, just out of frame, up high, shining in this way with an umbrella on it. You can see this set of shadows is mine. This one's coming from the light up there, or the window. The window's shining in that way. But that umbrella just gives us a lot more lift. Just lifts the whole brightness of the picture a little bit. I'm not saying my pictures are great, but you can add light without too much trouble. It takes some practice. This one's got the umbrella over here on the right side, and then I think I also put a light in like there's a second floor, and this is like an atrium, and it's shining down across her that way. But with the flash, I can make this picture, and then I can turn up the shutter speed and use the high-speed sync and make this picture instantly. And that's worthwhile. Here, the umbrella is shining into her face, lifting against the window. Otherwise, the window's totally blown out. It's blown out as it is, but it's completely white if we don't lift the rest of the room up. Umbrella from the left side over here gives us a little more look at the bald trees outside. Just that umbrella again. There you go. You can see the umbrella in the mirror behind her. Okay, here's without anything, and then just a little lift from that umbrella.
They both work.
Yeah, they both work. It's worthwhile. Now let's have some fun. This is a fashion designer who was a graduate of our school, and we did a showing of his dresses. Michelle Obama wore this dress, and it was in the art museum. I learned this idea from watching plays in the theater. They don't have black shadows. That's cool. So I put a blue light on the far right and a red light on the far left, and the wall that the blue light is hitting has red shadows, and the wall that the red light is hitting has blue shadows. He's got the red on the one face. I think it's cool. And then he's got a softbox shining right on his face. It's a lot of fun. Too bad about I didn't turn out the spotlights, so there's a yellow light shining on the head of that mannequin.
Yeah. The lights with the gel, are they hot lights or they're?
No, they're the flashes. Yeah, they're just. It was before I had these, but what I have for MagMod is two sets of color correction gels. So I've got the ones for CTO for tungsten light bulbs, and then I've also got the theatrical set of gels. You can get these on Amazon with the 7-inch reflector that goes on a Bowens mount for this flash for $12. 7-inch reflector with gel and barn doors, and that's what I actually used here, was those gels. This set is a lot more expensive, but it's convenient. It's very fast, which means I use it more. That's the thing. It's just having it easy to use means I use it. And that's why I carry this everywhere I go, because it's worth it. Like, if I have it, I can use it. And if I don't, I wish I did. Because otherwise I'm stuck in a basement photographing kids getting climbing gear off a shelf with one light bulb in the whole room, and it's miserable. So here's the pattern. Here's the formula. Front light is opposite the back light. To make this happen, you choose your aperture. Sometimes you choose your shutter speed, but usually we choose our aperture. That's the creative control that I'm using here. Choose my aperture. I make the ambient light look good. The light in the room look the way I want it to, which is pretty much dead. I want it pretty much nothing. So I'm using my max 1/250th of a second, my max shutter speed, and 200 ISO. That's my room setting. And then I'm at f2.5 on a 135 millimeter lens. With the ambient light looking right, I turn on the backlight and I make it look right. I don't want it too bright. I don't want his face blown out on that cheek and down his arm. I don't want the posters in the background blown out by that light. So that's the limiter there. And then front light and the softbox over here. So ambient, backlight, front light. Here the ambient is the backlight. There's not much of a backlight going on. Let's not talk about that one. The ambient is augment, like the window is behind her now, that big window over there. But I've augmented it with another flash, and I've got a umbrella shining into the wall, and it's reflecting back into her face as well. Get the ambient looking good, get the backlight looking good, get the front light looking good. Oh, excuse me. So besides the environmental thing, I've got the lights out, pop up a pop-out backdrop, and do something cool at the same time. This is in the middle of that gym where we were lifting weights a few minutes ago. It's not like, what's the difference between studio lighting and environmental lighting? Studios are boring. That's the difference, right? Yeah. And so I could take the studio with me and put up a backdrop anywhere I go. Ambient, balanced for the light around the guy, shined a light through the softbox on his face and his growly dog, and did it 7 times as he ran down the, like I put it on a tripod and then blended them in. It was a flat light day. Ambient, backlight, front light. Here, the ambient is the backlight. Got the light just like it's like 2:30. So the light is just off over top. And then it was super windy. It was like 30-mile-an-hour winds, so I had to use the strip box instead of the big soft box, which was just a little narrower, and I clamped it to the other pole on the playground so that it quit blowing away, and adjusted it for his face there. Here, ambient again is my backlight. I've got a soft box shining on his face from this side, which lets me put him under an umbrella and do it too. This one is this diffuser on a boom on a C-stand, and a flash shining into it, and then that's mimicking the sun shining across that way. So the ambient, there's not much of a backlight. There's not a rim light. It would be okay, but I'm also not missing it much here. I don't mind not having her with that glow from behind. And the cup gets it off her shirt, so that works well. And I carried a giant boulder up off the floor because it was super windy this day too, and put it in the spreader stand. It wasn't a C-stand, it was a spreader, which is good. So spreader stands, the legs spread out. Spreader, that's easy. And I put a boulder on the spread. When you use these, don't use the bottom knob. This doesn't do you any good. The only reason you might use the bottom knob is if you need to get it like slightly lower, and you could do something like that. But for the most part, keep the bottom knob locked. And then the widest point is when these are parallel to the ground. And so that's the most stable position as well. Anyways, any questions? Let's go make a picture. We've got ambient light. It's kind of boring. Let's not use the ambient light.
Channel 10?
Channel 1?
Oh, sorry, channel 1, yes.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Let's put a strong backlight coming in like this. So let's go like this guy on here. It's what?
That's like it's so much power.
Yes. Yes. And so I kind of like, ooh, should we put a little sunset on there? We could put a little sunset on it. That's why we have this tool. Because that'll contrast nicely with the white light shining on her face. Put a little action on it. So we'll go like that. Snap that in there. Like that's why that's why. That's why I like the mag mod. Put the mag boob on there, as they call it. Exactly. What do you think? Is it going to work?
Is it on her or is it on?
Can you put it shine it up into the light? I want to see the light in my photograph, so I want to hide the flash. What do you think, Natalie? Will it work? I think it'll work. Try just turning the clamp 90 degrees, maybe. Yeah, that should do it. It's going to hang like this in the picture. Okay, so do you know about groups and channels? We can have multiple channels so that we can have multiple people not interfering with each other. Joe could use lights, and I could use lights on different channels, and I'm not triggering his. within a channel, I've got 5 groups I can work with.
It's not gonna get.
And so this is on a different group than that one, and I can change the brightness. Okay, so this one's on A. I always put my front light on A, my backlight is B. That's why the front light is A, because B for backlight. And then whatever other lights end up on the other channels. And so on here, I can set the brightness of each of those. I'm gonna set I turned A off, because what do I wanna do? Ambient, backlight, front light. So let's get the ambient looking good. We'll go to color mode. Yeah. Natalie, will you scoot right to the edge of your cubby? Exactly. Okay, so if I frame, I've got a 105. If I frame this just with the cubbies, it looks weird to have that light coming in. But if I get the window in the edge back there, I can do anything I want. So I probably want my shutter speed at my maximum, 200 on this camera, for my sync speed, so that I can have a darkish room. We are on. Okay, there we go. On. We should be cooking. Let's see if it worked, Natalie. Did you get a picture, Steve? Okay, there we go. So, oh, it looks like, so there we are. It's boring. Let's see what we can do about it. So now I'll turn on the strobes. We'll put the backlight on first. 16th power is probably too much. We'll start at 64th and a third. Oh yeah, that's better. Cora? No. Yes? Corey, thanks Corey. Corey, will you slide this inward a little bit? Yeah, about like that. That gives me more glancing. And then actually take it 10 feet that way too. So it lights up all the booths. I don't, like if it only lights up this one, that's kind of weird. That's good. And then feather it in that way. Perfect. A little less. Excellent. All right, let's see how, that's too much. Let's go 1/28. Now I'm turning on the front light. Oh yeah, that's cool. Oh, there we go. That's all right. Hey, Mark, will you switch to the other side of that stand? There we go. Awesome. Hey, that's cool. Where's my bag? Let's try it with a 35. This way I get the other lights in. Even though I don't have this light in, I've implied that there's lights there, right? So I like that. Go 2 hands on your book, Natalie. Studying right along there. That's good. Cross a leg, like an ankle. Yeah, there you go. That looks comfortable. And then look right here again. Thank you. Try that.